everyone, welcome back to the another episode of Perspective Podcast. We have an amazing guest today. Hello Alvin.
Hi, Abbas. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
It is great to have you here today. Please tell us your story.
First of all, thanks, Abbas, to having me here. And it's a great name, The Perspective, when I heard first about it.
Yes, thanks.
Good luck and best of the wishes for the tomorrow. So, I am basically a Keralite, born and brought up in North. We run a startup called Carbon and Whale. So, Carbon and Whale basically looks after into a more clean tech basis where we understand and we take accountability of plastic waste which has been thrown by the people.
Great,
And
man. That is an amazing initiative.
thank you. And we are growing right now across Kerala, across Bangalore, across different parts of India. So our model, the sustainability part, if you would look into it, it's more into creating a public bench out of public waste. So people usually ask us why you are making a public bench out of public waste, and why can't you make a lot of other things? So there are a lot of recycling people or companies who do recycles and make small things. But again, if you see on a plastic perspective, we know it's a harmful thing. We know it has a lot of dangerous chemicals which has been in terms of fumes when we burn it. But a bench, when we talk about a specific bench, it has a longer life cycle, and when big organization and companies take accountability towards it, it will be having much more traceability and accountability from our end also. And that's the reason
Great.
in our first phase, we started with just a public bench.
Okay. So there is only public bench for now, right?
So back in 2022, when we incorporated this organization, me, the partner, and we have a polymer engineer who works with us. We started with a formulation of a tile, right, where you can put it in a footpath, you can put it in your road if you are on a residential area specifically. But eventually, we pivoted our model to a public bench.
So tell us the story behind the name Carbon and Whale.
Yeah, so usually everyone's asked that what does the name Carbon and Whale means, because it's kind of a moreover an international name, something that what people have thought about it. But on a
Yes.
generic view, if you would say, the whale is our motivation. Why? Because a whale in its lifespan, it absorbs almost 33 tons of carbon. In it's almost, let's say, 30, 40 years of time that is living into it. And 33 tons of carbon, it's basically huge, a kind of a lifesaver, or let's say environment saver when it comes to a whale. So we as a company also try to become a whale in the land, because whale is there in the ocean, but there is no specific whale in the land. And if you would talk about, because in our science classes we have learned in third grade, fourth grade, a tree absorbs carbon, it emits oxygen. That's the reason we have to
Yes.
plant more trees and everything. But the informative part, if you would look into a full grown tree in an year, it absorbs just 21 kilogram of carbon. And compared to a whale has the higher capacity to absorb carbon than a tree. So that's the reason we
Okay.
wanted to bring a whale into the land, and that's how we operate, and we have put our name as Carbon and Whale. And
Great.
we got this name specifically. My partner, who is one of the founders of a company, when we were talking to friends on a boost time, when we were on beer, we were having beer. On that time, we got this specific name. So everything is kind of an accidental.
So you guys started up in 2022, right?
Correct. We are registered in Kerala Startup Mission. We
Hmm.
incorporated in 2022, but before 2 years, in 2019, lot of research and R&Ds has been done, and then we came into the incorporation by 2022.
Great. How different is your startup in the ecosystem you started out?
So, in on a perspective term, if you would see, we are a recycling company, and there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
recycling company across there. But in this podcast itself, even Abbas, when we specifically connected in the initial level, you might have heard ki yeah, we collect the waste, we do everything. It's kind of a waste management company. Usually people misunderstand, but we
Mm-hmm.
are not specifically into waste management. We are into a circular economy. What the circular economy means, whatever you have recycled, it doesn't has to go into the dustbin again, or it doesn't has to go into the landfill or the ocean again. And that is what
Mm-hmm.
lot of other companies, recycling companies or waste management companies lack right now. To give a simple example, let's say the pet bottles, the shampoo bottles, the bottles from, let's say, face wash and everything that we use, lot of has been already recycled once in its lifespan. But after we are using it or we are buying it, there are across globally only 9% just has been recycled. So where is the rest has been
Yes.
gone? So that is something people in the recycling industry or waste management industry lack it, because the accountability of plastic which has been recycled, it has been gone to the landfill or it has been burned down, and that is the major reason the plastic pollution is happening. And you might be also aware, India is now the
Yes.
fifth largest plastic polluted country in the world right now.
Hmm.
And that's the and I, as a person into sustainability or circular economy that I mentioned into, we do not think there is an alternative solution to the plastic. We are thinking how plastic can be reused in such a way that its life cycle can be increased and it doesn't have to harm anyone in terms of uh, chemically, or the fumes or gases that has been is how it can be released. And that's the reason a bench is the first phase that we have looked into to create.
Great. And it also has a public utility, right? You are installing them in malls and spaces, public spaces.
Exactly. So
That is a great initiative. Yes.
correct. So specifically, if I'll go into it, why malls, why metros, why big organizations, and not to directly consumers, just like you and me, I can also buy
Mm-hmm.
this furniture, because the public waste which has been thrown by the people, someone has to value it. And when
Mm.
organizations like we are uh, in contract with metro, right, government organizations, we are collaborated with Lulu Group. It's one of
Mm-hmm.
the biggest group in UAE and now in India specifically. So when these people keep these public benches at their place, they are also responsible for these many kilogram of plastic waste. Let's say Lulu Group recently, when we have kept almost 400 kilogram of plastic waste has been turned into a bench and has been kept there. And and
Great.
and
Yes.
and the lifespan, whenever it's there, even
Mm-hmm.
I, as a person, would be responsible for the betterment of that public bench where public people are going to use it. And even the Lulu Group, where the benches has been kept, they are also responsible to keep us one of the treasure in their spaces. So it's kind of a win-win situation in terms of sustainability that we look into it.
Yes. And speaking about the bench particularly, people are liking it. I have seen some Instagram posts where you are talking about sustainability, and you have conducted good seminars as well. So I think it is an impactful solution. How do you feel about it?
No, that's very true. Why we are doing this, even we are a private limited company, awareness on plastics, awareness on recycling is very important, because, like we mentioned, 9% has been just recycled. When even in the last couple of months back, when I went to a school, even the smaller grades, like let's say the second, third, fourth standard, we gave an awareness on which materials can be recycled and which cannot be, which is biodegradable and all, right? And why it has to start from the younger students, because they are going to face something way much bigger after 10, 20 years of a time. Because right now the statistic says every three fish that's there in the ocean has microplastics in them. Every one out
Yeah.
of three fish, and
Mm-hmm.
that's an alarming factor. And
Yes.
the reason is that because let's say when we are sitting right now, your headphone, my mic, my laptop, there might be plastic everywhere.
Yeah.
So people ask me, why can't government ban it? Why can't people ban it? You see, it's also a petroleum product, which is a byproduct of petroleum, and people used to sell it, or let's say the big organization like Reliance is the petroleum king, crude oil king in India right now, right? So they are the major players who produce this plastic, or let's say in the form of virgin plastic, what we say. And every food, even the food we use, food we eat, the water we store, plastic is a form which gives a more lifespan to all these items for let's say not to decay, and for proper having a high shelf life. So we cannot ban it in an easy life. But the awareness in people has to come up. If there is plastic consumption is happening more, recycling should be done in a good fact.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now Zomato, Swiggy, everyone is doing online shopping, online food delivery and everything. But the important fact that a lot of people doesn't know, the food we eat in a can, in a plastic, the plate that we usually
Container.
get,
Yeah.
container we get, if we
Hmm.
do not clean it and put it into the proper recycling basket that we have outside our home or inside our home, the recycling the pickers, the waste pickers cannot recycle it, by the way. And
Mm-hmm.
it on a matter of fact, you know, if food gets contaminated in 2 or 3 days if it's not stored in refrigerator.
Yes.
And just think on the situation when those waste pickers will be having that container with some extra food or the residue which has been there for the last 1 week, and what can be the situation from their end.
Yeah.
And what and the end of the day, what's going to happen is going to go into the landfill. And that is the major thing where India is lacking, where people is lacking on that information.
But yeah, we use plastic so much in our day to day lives, right? How much is the percentage of single use plastic in it? Because I think single use plastic can be avoided.
Exactly. See, so our final aim, or let's the future of carbon and wheel is to uh, how to better use the single-use plastic, or how to make it a reusable product on the term. And
Mm-hmm.
single-use plastic consumption is usually banned by the government.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
yes, still there are people who are producing it. Still there are people using it, and going to home, get people taking accountability into it. It's not possible. The mindset has to be changed from an individual level. Then only, let's say I always carry a water bottle with me whenever I go to places, meetings, business meetings and everything, and I try to fill it with the wherever I am in, maybe in a mall, maybe in a metro station, everywhere there might be a water can. But if I am using a water bottle, I'm not naming any of the companies, what we
Mm-hmm.
usually do, we drink it. If we are traveling, we'll put in the train. We do not carry back at our home. We tend to throw it or crush it and give it somewhere. So that is something that people are going to lack, because in my lifespan, in a year, um, just take an example, we have to drink 3 liters of water every day. And someone who is traveling uh, 10 to 15 days in a month, it's approximately the consumption of water bottle will be more. But if you're carrying a water bottle with you and you're trying to just to refill, you have decreased a huge impact on the single-use plastic.
What if they throw it in a dustbin? Is it being recycled? Because it is not in, just speaking about the plastic water bottle, it doesn't have any food articles in it.
So on that specific point, if I would comment it, for example, let's say I'll talk about Kerala. The government has bought up a complete different unit for recycling and cleaning and everything. They're doing a good job. And if the water bottle is being put into a dustbin, and the dustbins source is going properly on a recycling, definitely it can be recycled. There is no such an issue in that. But the important thing is that people is not putting in the recycle basket. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's the major thing.
90%. 90% people.
Exactly.
Yes.
And there is where we are lacking, because if you the motivation to start Carbon and Whale is when the Kerala beaches were not just for partying, it was also to throw public waste.
Hmm.
Because I have literally seen morning 5:30, 6 a.m. There are people who come from their homes, they carry 2, 3 bags and just throw it away in the water. So that's the major problem they are facing.
Speaking about the same, I have come across, I see it every weekend in Hyderabad itself. We have a water body in the center of the city, right? People who are passing by, they stop their vehicles just to throw the trash they got from home. I don't understand. There are trash bins right, maybe half kilometer away. But why do people do this?
That's it's everywhere, it's happening. So I would say it's basic awareness what people are lacking right now. We might be scrolling lot of Instagram the reels on looking on the crunch videos and everything, but it's also important, rather than being political uh, and talk lot of things about government is not doing that, government is not doing this, this company is polluting these places and everything. But the conception of plastic has been increased from like me and you and the people who is going to watch this. They have to take action. From my viewpoint, lot of government and lot of private bodies have equally trying to do a sustainable lifestyle. But the thing is that we have to take an action towards it, and to take an action towards it, the first step they can do it to have two recycling, let's say two waste basket at home itself. One is for wet waste, one is for dry waste. Wet waste, we know it can be decomposed easily. There is no such issues on that proper throwing, or whichever the local waste companies are there, you have to give it to there. The plastic or the cardboard or the glass that you have, this is something that you have to uh, recycle it on a proper manner, schedule your week or schedule your month in such a way that you are going to give it to the recycling companies or the government bodies who are picking up this waste. If 50% of people do that, in the next 5 years, the 9% recycling statistics that we see right now, there will be huge impact.
Great. So, talking about the government, how supporting is Kerala government for you?
So we've been part of the Suchitwa mission that we call in Kerala.
Hmm.
It's a body that government has started up for cleaning the places, recycling it in proper basis, all the every kind of a waste. And on in a plastic environment, we've been a major company which are helping them also. And in Kerala, we have got lot of support from there. Let's say Cochin Metro were the first people or the first organization who have incorporated our public benches by the usage of 2000 kilogram of plastic waste in the form of a
Hmm.
bench. So,
Great.
so the process might be delayed, but they have done a good thing, and we
Great.
promote that. And because how the world is going, how the consumption of people is going on a high scale, because in a blink of a time, Blinkit is there at our home, Zepto is there at home, Swiggy is there
Yes,
at our
yes.
home. Everything comes in a plastic container. And if you would see, these companies are also doing a good job,
Hmm.
because recently, even if I buy them, the bag which they give is basically made out of paper or some kind of a recyclable material or a biodegradable
Okay.
material.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
world is moving towards that, but lot of things are there which plastic cannot be avoided, and that is where we have to come into the play, where we have to do our best so that it goes to the recycling companies.
Yes. So, can you walk us through how you convert single-use plastic into a durable commodity like a bench?
So if I'll give a simple example, we are just like you might be knowing how Apple works, right?
Yeah.
Apple is a designing company. It has a very good design, very good R&D which works on. But the manufacturing and the materials, raw materials, everything is being done from a China or Vietnam or somewhere place. Same thing
Hmm.
like for us, we are a circular company, a clean tech company where we have our design, our R&D is strong. There are a lot of different polymer which cannot be recycled, which can be recycled, which can be increased in terms of different compounds that can be added to increase the strength. So we design it, we get the raw materials from a third party or the waste management company or the recycling company that we have talked about, because they are into proper waste management. We help them get the waste, plastic waste across the beaches, oceans, canals, rivers, and everything. They help us for segregations, cleaning, and all the things that goes on. There is specific form of called granules that get released. We basically
Hmm.
get the raw materials. We use our technology, our design, our additives compound that we add up, and our own machine where we basically produce in a form of a deck, or we call lumber. Then we
Hmm.
manufacture it from a third party where our design goes to them and it comes into an output form. Then our marketing, our sales works, where we how we can collaborate with big companies and make them responsible for the public benches which are thrown by the public people.
There are people who conduct beach clean drives, right? We don't have a beach in Hyderabad, but whenever I visit Kerala or whenever I visit Mumbai, I take part in it. So, how is it with you? Do you conduct any volunteering beach cleanup drives?
So that is one of our major things in terms of promoting awareness in terms of people, because
Mhm.
we always on a monthly basis, and now we are trying to increase every 15-day basis of cleanups. And beach is not the
Great.
only place that we have to clean up. See, beach is an output of what the ocean has to give us back. See, you have thrown this much to the environment, everything has come to the water, and it's now it's going into the land, right?
That's a great point, man. Yes.
Exactly. So that's the reason we see ki baap re baap, this beach is so dirty. This is something which is this beach has been gone in terms of all this waste people throw there. So people do not throw there. People throw in their nearby river, nearby canals, nearby whatever the water bodies it's nearby, and that basically goes and shifts to the ocean. So cleanups are one of the important thing that we usually do. And why cleanups? It's not just to pick up the waste and show in social media that we have done the cleanup. We
Yes, yes.
pick up people from colleges, from different NGOs who are partnered with
Mm.
us, and we are trying to come up into a social media where we are showing the circular economy of it. If the plastic waste has been picked up, how it's going to form into an output in a form of a bench. And that is where a lot of NGOs cleanup drives which has been happening from the last 15 to 20 years. If these many cleanup drives are happening, man, then the plastic waste should has been have been
Yeah, there should
decreased.
be a great impact. Yes,
But
but it is not.
exactly, so
Mm.
it's on the sake of a name someone is doing. Because one of a video, if you would seen in the Instagram, the people of Cochin, or let's say the major beach place, those people, if we ask them where does this plastic waste goes, they mention ki someone cleans it up, put it there itself in the side of them. And probably in 15 days, 20 days, if the government comes up, picks it up, or some any other organization picks it up, if it's not, it again goes spreading out of there.
Back. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's not a solution out of that. So if you're picking it
Mhm.
up, you have to be responsible, and you have to recycle it on a proper basis. And that's the reason where we come up. We
Yeah.
show a plastic waste thrown by the public comes back into a form of an innovative product that you have to be responsible on a later stage. And that's how we are going to do the cleanup drive everywhere, because not only beaches, mountains are there, some viewpoints are there where people use this single-use plastic and throw it away. So we are partnering with NGOs to do this cleanups every month and to take responsibility out of it.
Yeah, yeah. It hurts, man, when someone drinks something from a water bottle and just throw it while they are riding bike, you know.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, we see so much, plastic articles. Even when you dig, in my experience, I have seen there was a construction of a house for which they dig the land.
Hmm.
Right, you should see the second layer is completely plastic. You know, the plastic bags which were very common back then.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
So,
because if you would see on the plastic bag, if you imagine when we go buy any groceries, we get plastic bag for free. So
yes.
that is the importance of the lower cost and high grade efficiency in storage capacity of a plastic. So I don't know in the next 10 to 15 years if anything can replace a plastic bag with that cost. That is important. There are a lot of things that can replace it. There is jute bag, there is pagar, a lot of people are doing a lot of things. Nobody is able to achieve that cost efficiency towards the plastic bag which has been achieved from petrol. And everyone does a business, so
Yeah.
every company would be looking onto a cost effective factor. That is one of the key metrics that every company looks in their business: costing.
Yes.
And plastic innovation has reduced that drastically in the last 20-50 years of our time. And to be frank, because we as a company are incubated in Central Institute of Polymer and Technology, because we are registered in Startup India. So
Hmm.
this institution basically works and innovate in terms of the polymer. Polymer is basically how different plastic varieties be made, like PP, LDP, HDP, multi-layer. A lot of things are there. So there is a PLA polymer which is biodegradable, but the cost is high, right? So if the innovation comes up, something where the cost decreases certainly in terms of a normal plastic, will be able to use plastic which is going to be biodegradable. That is one of the
Hmm.
biggest innovation in terms of what people are doing right now.
Speaking of which, I have read this in an article about carbon and well. You have a goal of transforming 1 million kilograms of plastic, right? So please tell us your goal and how close are you
Exactly.
achieving it?
So why we tend to do a target of 1 million kilogram plastic is also to make people understand, if I am taking responsibility of each plastic waste which you have thrown, you also have to take
Hmm.
responsibility from your home.
Great. Yes.
So uh, if you go in our social media and Instagram page, how we are taking this responsibility of 1 million kilogram plastic waste is not just to throw in the landfill. We'll show how it's done, and that is the form of a bench. So right now, in the last 3 to 4 months of a time, we have approximately removed 5,000 kilogram of plastic from the environment, and 10
Great.
lakh is a huge milestone that we have to achieve by end of the 2025. But we are in a good path. There are a lot of people who are supporting us, but the main reason, if you would see, from 1 million minus this many kilo till it reaches zero. So we do not want to do it again and again. If I'm doing it again in the next year of, let's say, 10 million of 100 million kilogram plastic waste accountable, then the consumer is not doing the right job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the agenda is how much less we are able to take it, then you people are doing good job.
Hmm.
But it's
Great.
also a part of awareness. It's also a part of awareness where people or community supports us, seeing someone is taking accountability of the circular economy and not going back to the dustbin. And if one people gets impacted out of that, key no, tomorrow when I'm going to use the plastic that I milk packet that I use at my home, I'm not going to cut it the upper part of the thing and throw it away.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to
It cannot
clean.
be recycled. Yes.
Exactly. I'm going to clean the inner residue. I'm going to
Hmm.
dry it and I'm to throw into the proper plastic waste. There the impact will come. So the 1 million kilogram is equal to 1 million impact driven, and that's how we're trying to do.
Yes, yes. And let me ask you this: how did it start from your home? Because I think one person in the family should start it, and then family follows it, right? Being plastic conscious. How
Exactly.
did it start in your home?
So for my place itself, like I mentioned to you, that milk packet, right? So if we cut down
Hmm.
on the side part of it, we think it's just a small plastic, but everyone consumes milk. Approx 70-80% of people consumes milk across India. Just understand that small part of the milk packet can give an impact of huge microplastics. So when we were into carbon and whale, when we were trying to aware people of it, we thought it has to be done from our end, my home, right? So if I buy something from Zomato, if my family is having something from Zomato, Swiggy, any of the food packet that comes up, we cannot justify plastic ki tomorrow Swiggy ko call karke, bhai, I don't want your plastic uh, container, give me something on a recycling. We cannot do that, right? But as a responsible person, I can do something, is I can clean the container, right, properly cleaned up after eating up, throw the wet waste in one container, and take this container into the recyclable dust. And if that happens, and if that's happening in my home, so if I am
Hmm.
impacted and the people in my company who are working, they are impacted, if let's say 1 million people does that in the next 1 year of a time, there will be huge impact.
Yes, yes. Looking forward to it. And people are changing. The awareness is much more right now than it was in the past. And I think people are changing for good.
Correct, correct,
Yeah. So this is a global issue. Whatever plastic we are talking about, it is a global issue,
correct.
right? How do you see carbon and whale contributing to the global efforts, and in a global conversation, how are you going to contribute?
So globally, if you, like I mentioned, there are a lot of recycling companies, lot of waste management companies, but just 9% doesn't make a good number, right? So when carbon and wheel comes up, a public bench is just a phase one of our our model that we are working into. Where the phase two comes up, we are trying to bring something on the table for the consumer, for the people of the nation, and on a global level, where if you would see in our household, 30 to 40% of the major plastic waste come from the cleaning essentials. Then comes up the our hair product, skin product, right, face product, something like that. Then if you
Hmm.
would see, there are a lot of uh, multi-layer plastic, which we call the chips, the materials that we buy from
Yeah.
outside, the food containers and everything. So these are all divided. So what if something comes up on a consumer level, where the single-use plastic can be decreased to a 98 percentage? There might be still that 2% plastic that has to be recycled it properly. But if that comes up on any of the one sector, that is our main goal. Our future looks like, and people are aware on it. People trust on this, because if you would see the last 10 years, when we put something in our face as men, we didn't think about it. It was
Yeah.
men and handsome, fair and handsome. Something was there.
Hmm.
There was
Hmm.
Head and Shoulder as a shampoo. But now people are more secure, or more have a wider perspective of what they put in their face, hair, and everything. And that's the reason a lot of companies have come in. And I 100% believe, in terms of plastic, in terms of sustainability, in terms of eco-friendly, it's a huge market, and that's how the world is moving into. And that is what we are trying to do in our R&D right now, so that how a single use plastic in any of these category which we use at
Hmm.
our home can crack it down, where people trust us. This people are doing a good job, and with my activeness in this, or my purchase over it, I can reduce. 98% from my home. So what will happen from across India? So that is what we are looking on a global level. The final product is not still ready onto it, but our team R&D department is doing innovations onto it, and few months by 2025 we will be able to launch that.
Great. How is entrepreneurship so far for you? You know, there are a lot of challenges. I think we can refer you and your co-founder as a socialpreneur,
Exactly.
sociopreneur, right?
Exactly.
How is it for you?
So we have kept we have three people who are the top management. If you would look into, we call ourselves on a different perspective, not the usual chief executive officer or chief
Yes.
CEO, operational officer, and all. We have kept a different name for us. I am the chief zero officer, or let's say the zero waste officer. My partner who looks into the product, he is the chief eco officer, right? He is the
Mm-hmm.
CEO. And
Mm-hmm.
there is one polymer engineer who is an ex-professor of who knows polymer well. He is the chief trash officer, CTO.
Okay.
So that's how we relate to our vision, and the people
Mm-hmm.
who are below us, who are people, the colleagues who are working with us, because plastic consumption is high. We cannot do anything to that, but how we can reuse it, reduce it, is something that we have to work into it. So that is how we are looking into. And talking about entrepreneurship journey, the last 7 years I've been working with a lot of startups. I have seen how startups work, but as an employee perspective, right? I was a worker there who was earning a salary of some X amount, 6-digit amount, and it's pretty happy moment when you get something on the first day of your month. Yeah, your account is filled, and you have something on a. Uh, if you look onto that perspective, it's a safe environment. Yeah, your money is something that runs up when you jump onto an entrepreneur, and people who are going to watch this, or who have the mindset ki I have to do something, I have an idea whether I have to do or not, and whether I have to put it or not, whether I'll get money, whether will people invest it or not. That is something you're thinking on a lot of perspective. If you want to do it, just do it. If you do not do it, someone else will do it. And India is accepting startups in such a way right now. This is the best time. So all the startup founders, and in an entrepreneur journey, if you think you can be your own boss, yes, you can be your own boss. If you want to wake up at 12, yes, you can wake up at 12. If you want to sleep at 4, yes, you can sleep at 4. But the journey is not at all comfortable. The journey is not at all comfortable in your financials. The journey is not at all comfortable in your relationships. The journey will always give you a lot of negatives from the people in your family, in your colleague level, whether it will work or not, whether it will sustain or not. And we into plastic waste, people call us kabadi wala also. So if I have the vision in my mind ki I have to do it,
Hmm.
just do it. Execution matters, because 4 billion people in India have lot of ideas, but execution is someone where just 1% people do it.
Yeah.
So that's how our entrepreneurial journey has been. We whatever we think onto it, we just do it. There's a book by Tim S. Grover called Relentless.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just give you a small example to it. When a baby is born, whether he has to cry, he doesn't think ki whether I have to cry, whether how does the environment look like. If I have to cry, I have to cry. If I am sad, I'll be sad. So everything comes on an instinct, right? As a human, we change that. We tell the child ki this is the different environment, so grow like this. You have to study, then only you can achieve something. If you be silent in your class, then only teacher will not scold you. So these are the outer environment which has been thrown to the child. But I'll say, to be relentless, to be unstoppable, whatever your instincts say in yourself, just do it. And if you're able to not do that, you're just like a lion who is inside a cage, right? A lion, if it's put in the jungle, he will hunt it. He will hunt it.
Mm.
His instinct is to kill. He'll go round and round and backside of the deer to kill it. But if you put it
Yes.
in the cage, it still has an instinct, but you have stopped it. And that cage is something, it's not physically for us, but it's something, that barrier that people or the surrounding has given it. If you do that, if it's like this or like that, so you have to understand which is your barrier and which is not your barrier, and just do for it. And that's what I we talk to a lot of founders. We tell them, if you have an idea, just execute it. Failure is something that you have only learned. If you do not do it, how will you learn?
Yes, yes. Great point. So you might have come across lots of youngsters in your team as well, right? If
Correct.
somebody wants to join you, be it young person or be it anyone, any other citizen, if they want to join you, how do they reach you out?
So we are in our website. So in our social media pages, if anyone has to reach us out, they can write a mail to us, join@carbonandwheel.com, or my email ID, alvin@carbonandwheel.com. But we are very much peculiar on whoever we hire. You see, we are
Okay.
not a company that has to uh, hire someone or something if we have a requirement. We take
Mm-hmm.
time, we take understanding on what the person is giving to us on a personal level, on a professional level. We engage them for 3-4 times in our conversation, and then only we had hired, because we want to create a sustainable business. This is something that
Yeah, fair
people
enough.
will look into it. I'm not
Mm.
going to run a business for some quick money that happens now, but we suffer it tomorrow. Money is important in every business. Money is important, but on a sustainable manner, if you do it, if you have a vision towards it, and people loves with your vision, do check it out in our website, carbonandwheel.com. There is a form that you can connect us,
Yeah.
mail us, fill the form, we'll get back to you. We have our phone number in Carbon and Wheel. If you search for it, you can ping, people can ping us, and
Yeah, yeah.
we'll connect with them.
So within India, are there any other company or are there any people you look up to or whose vision aligns with you? Is there any other company or people?
So, in terms of plastic, giving a solution to the plastic waste, not in specifically India, but there is a company in Bali
Mm-hmm.
called Sungai Watch, right? So they've been from a pioneer from because Bali is a destination of tourism. It attracts tourism. Everyone have heard of Bali. We love to go Bali, but the situation of Bali is, after the people visit there, is very bad. The rivers, the oceans, what the people have done, and the companies who promote the single-use plastic there, the rubbish has been filled up across rivers. So Sungai Watch is someone who's an NGO specifically. It's a non-profit organization, but they're doing a wonderful job. They're not cleaning the beaches; they're cleaning the rivers. They are cleaning the connections to the beaches, and those are the people that we look into, and what an amazing job they are doing. And let's say in India also, we can do on a better perspective, connecting with a lot of NGOs and everything. And those people are someone we look into.
So how do you want to scale Carbon and Well? Where can we expect your startup in 5 years?
So currently in Kerala and in Bangalore, we are now. We
Mm-hmm.
have one specific design for malls, one another design for metros. So across Kerala, if you would see, there is one Cochin metro, that the only metro that the highest public people come up. So we are in every metro station. If Kerala people who is going to watch this, if you go in our platforms, Kochi metro platforms, you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to see our recycled benches made out of public waste. And now we have been collaborated with every premium malls in Kerala.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be Lulu Group, it will be Malabar Group, Highlight Group. All these malls, you'll be able to see our public benches by end of December. We are in Bangalore also. We are tied up with Lulu Group. So in Bangalore, if anyone is there in Bangalore, you'll be able to see in Bangalore. And that's how we are trying to get in because malls and metro is something, it's a premium place. People like premium now. Every youngsters, every 30 to 40, 40 to 50 wants to feel the premium. But, and we also want to make them feel premium with the public waste they have thrown away. So that's the reason we have chosen malls, metros, airports as one of the premium places where this public waste will be kept up in a form where people get awareness out of it. And I think there is in India approximately more than 250 malls are there. Every place, every district is, I think 70% of district is having metro stations. So we are
Hmm.
planning to get in every metro station, every malls,
Great.
and
Yeah.
we are also looking into residential places, apartments, if we can crack something out of there, because that is one of also the key sector where the plastic waste been thrown, but something has
Mhm.
been given to the residential places, which also create a huge impact towards it. And schools, colleges, all this business to business places is somewhere where vandalization will be also decreased. If I sell to you,
Yeah.
any furniture or let's say chair, I won't be having any control towards how you use it, whether you will throw it away, when something happens to it. And we do not want as an organization to go it again into a landfill, which will create
Hmm.
microplastic. So that's the reason we haven't looked the perspective on a consumer level. But yes, on a
Okay.
B2B level, we will be across India in next 1 year of a time.
Great. Are there any other products apart from benches you are working on?
So, like I mentioned, something is coming up for the next year by
Yeah. Yeah.
mid half, which will be releasing, which will be a
Mm-hmm.
kind of a consumer product where 98% of plastic waste will be removing. Still, R&D is going on. I do not want to give false promises in this podcast and
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
but
Yes.
when that will be released, we want every single people to have an awareness towards it. Yes, plastic is good, but if you reduce it and reuse it in a proper manner, it's also good.
Something struck with me from the starting of this conversation. You said India is fifth largest polluter, plastic polluter, right? So why do you think it happens? And considering India has a lot of young population compared to other countries, why do you think it is happening? And on a personal level, how can someone change, especially young person?
So see, India's demographic, if you see into, there is tier one, tier two, and tier three. And if you would see in tier one level, where let's say every premium class, flats, apartments, residentials are there, these people have access to a lot of waste management facilities given by the government or private companies, which has come up as a waste management company. Let's say if I live in a villa in Cochin specifically, so every 3 days or every week, the government sends the local body that they have created to collect the wet waste and the dry waste from the people. And that happens, let's say 50% of it. Some people give it, some people do not give it. But if you would see in the tier 2 city or tier 3 city equally, or even if you go below that itself, proper plastic waste or the waste management is not happening. And that is what I think India is missing across it, and that is the reason, because tier 2, tier 3, what we call as a Bharat market, right? And Bharat market has already always given good business to lot of commercial companies, lot of I won't say the name, but in terms of, like I mentioned you, all the products that we use our home. And every tier 2, tier 3 city people are so ambitious to have it in our home. When they come up, even food and beverages, whatever it is, their waste management, who takes care of? Nobody takes care of. So what solution that they have thought it of? Either I have to burn it, either I have to throw it into the nearby river or canals or anything that I have the easy access, or either I'll throw it some in the land. So this is the only option left to them. So getting a waste management facility in the tier 2, tier 3 region is also as important as what it's been done in tier 1 city. And the people in tier 2, tier 3 city, we also know, in terms of education, in terms of what perspective we have in tier 1 city is also kind of less. So having a great awareness factor in there, having a responsible person from every household has to be also built up. Swachh Bharat is something our Prime Minister has brought up into. I don't know how many people do that. There are people who does it. There are a lot of people who do for only for social media, and there are people who have basically given a sentence in the social media where I have heard that they do the cleanup, but it goes to the landfill. So what is the point of doing all this cleanup near beaches, all this thing, and putting in the landfill if they do not find a solution towards it? It's basically one land. Whether it's near to the beaches, whether it's in the landfill, it's the Mother Earth only. So
Yeah.
companies has to come up with lot of solution. Lot of if you go to Singapore, if you would see, I visited Singapore 2 years back, and I was amazed to see it was a rainy season, right? Usually, in rainy season, lot of waste and everything which comes up, usually what we see in India, which is
Yeah. Yeah.
outside, which comes across in the public places. But the place is so neat, so clean, the management has done a wonderful work in Singapore, where you won't be able to see waste anywhere. And much important to that, every corners, every places, you'll be able to see a waste bin which is in a green color, which is in a blue color. And people are aware where to put these wastes. So that is something what we as a people, we as a lot of companies are lacking, organization is lacking, government bodies is lacking, and much about that we as a people are not lacking. We think if I throw it, what will happen?
Yeah, the attitude we have as Indians, the careless attitude.
Yeah, exactly. So that is
Yeah.
the funda. If I'll believe ki if I do it, if it's just me, I'm going to do it. If I do it, nothing is going to happen. But that is the same mentality everyone is having.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a major
I
factor.
think if we are trying to draw a tree of responsibility, I think the government has broader perspective of people
Hmm.
until it comes to personal level. I think we are not talking about. I mean, not in the podcast, but generally, we are not talking about other leaders. There are communities,
Hmm.
right? Every residential area has a community,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
They can the heads of those communities. I think they can take part. Also with the corporate companies, right? There are many leaders, team leaders, managers within their corporate sector. I think if they are willing to put in some work, be little conscious about the waste they are generating as a organization, I think that will be a great contribution to the environment.
That's very true, because we personally know a lot of communities who have came up in cleaning up the waste, collecting everything from the residential areas and everything. And we also encourage lot of other people, other companies also to come into it, because the kind of a waste they generate is something huge. They might look on a business perspective, yeah, sale is high, uh, our revenue is high, growth is high, everything is high. But tomorrow, if the planet is dead, where is the business is going to happen? Right? So we might not face
Yes.
it right now. If you see last 5 years back, the places were much cleaner. Now the consumption is high, the places are getting much dirtier. What will happen next 10 years when our children will come up, our children will face all this thing? And that is going to be, if the technology comes up, it's good. Something comes up, we reduce this plastic consumption, is good. But if it's not happening, where will this, our offsprings, how will they suffer it? Nobody's thinking on that. Everyone wants to live on the present and do it.
Yeah,
And that is
because
something.
plastic is always on the planet. I like this. I heard it somewhere. First ever toothbrush you used, it is still hanging around. It did
Correct.
not decompose. It will take at least 800 to 1000 years
That
to start decomposing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's not just plastic. Every plastic waste that people have thrown away, Even when I was born, the plastic which my parent might have thrown away, it's still there
Hmm.
in the environment somewhere.
Yes.
Somewhere, someone might be suffering, might be in the ocean, some might be in the land. So that, or it might has been because there is a kind of a recycling called chemical recycling, where
Hmm.
people burn it. So some recycling happens it, but a decomposition of this plastic, when it happens, it releases what we have learned in our schools and all, carbon, right? Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, different forms of fumes, which is harmful.
Hmm.
So that is something people, community, and government, private organizations work into, and communities. Lot of community has to come up, and that's the reason Carbon and Whale also, because we are not into proper waste management. We are trying to bring a solution in clean tech, in sustainability, and that's the reason we are also collaborating with lot of NGOs who are into cleaning these places and everything, and we are trying to get partnership with them, so that whatever
Great.
the waste they pick up, someone has to take responsibility of that.
Yeah. If you have a moment right now to address someone, something, a specific group of people, what would it be? Because you have already given the advice on starting up a business. That was my question.
Mm.
But on sustainability, if you have to give any advice to anyone, what would it be?
uh, just like what we have seen, it's for the people, or let's say the college grads who wants to do startup, or let's say in sustainability level itself. We know quick commerce is going high. We know textile industry, fashion industry, the dress we are wearing right now, the fashion has changed well, and it's moving so fast, right? And I also believe the people who are going to start sustainability model right now, any business model that they bring out of sustainability, it's going to thrive tomorrow. Why? Because it's also going to impact climate at some point of a time. So maybe a climate tech, maybe a clean tech. So it all relates to how you're protecting the your earth, your land, how you are protecting your environment. So the next $1 trillion company, I believe it's going to be the climate, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the podcast I heard, one of our $1 billion Nikhil Kamath, right, is
Yeah.
the founder of Zerodha. He has also mentioned the next $1 trillion company is going to someone who is going to impact in climate. So there is huge opportunity. What we have found is one simple model which someone can take accountability towards it, and there can be a lot of diversification towards it on later stage, but the potential is strong. If there are a lot of brilliant mindset across India, which has been kept in a box as just an idea. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be lion, not in the cage. You have to be lion in your jungle, and it's probably the instinct that you have to believe in. You, if your instinct, if you have two mind, he I am working also, I have to uh, start a company so that my finance and my uh, startup can go together, and together that doesn't work that way, right? If you have to do something, you have to do one thing at a time. If you do two things at a time, it doesn't happen, right? So just like,
Yeah.
if you want to enjoy your food, just enjoy your food. If you're eating food and watching television at the same time, you won't enjoy your food.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
even
Yes.
all this venture capitalists, if you would see, and all this investor, if you see, because we were also uh, we have also got seed funding in the initial stage of a time. We got grants from the government for this innovations and everything. People believe you as a founder. People believe in your vision. People do not believe your business right now that you are running might be successful or might not be successful, because it's a period of 5 to 10 years of a time where a startup can be validated in terms of its business, right? So it's the vision that founder is having to do something which no other people are doing, and in their execution level. So capitalists, investors believe on someone who are doing passionately, giving everything, and doing justice to the people, the environment, and to the economy, right? So that's something that I would like to tell to the people
Great.
across
Yeah.
India, across the global, and whoever wants to start it, just do it.
If there is something I missed out asking, if you were in my shoes and asking you yourself a question, what would it be?
One question I people used to ask me, and probably this platform can also be one thing where people can resemble into it, and
Mhm.
if they have to take action towards it. Everyone is doing something, right? Everyone, how to achieve happiness, how to achieve, because everyone wants happiness or else money and a good health. That is something
Mhm.
that everyone wants. That is the ultimate goal of your life. So wealth is something you can achieve it, because let's say if I have 100 or 1,000 people, if I educate everyone in terms of science, in terms of technology, in terms of whatever education they like into, they should just know how to leverage it. Just like Abbas, you are leveraging your podcast. It's where wealth can be created tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? Joe Rogan is one of the few
Best examples. Yes.
people who has leveraged podcast in his way, right?
Hmm.
There are creators who has came up into Instagram, who are making lakhs and crores out of a social media, being just confident, right? Being having some information what they have learned. So
Hmm.
our world right now has gone into a something where you can leverage wealth in any form. It might take time. The hardships will be the initial. There is no easy money in the first time. People
Yeah.
who are telling you, you put this much money, I'll give you this much money in just 2 months of a time or 3 months of a time. Quick money, what we call. Someone is trying to make quick money out of you. Just you have to think out of it. There is no fund of quick money in our world. 1% of luck might happen, but if you have to leverage it, go through the hardships right now and get it done. So these are the few things that usually I believe in from your shoots I should ask, because my
Yes.
in my startup journey, how happy you can be, right? So happiness perspective, if I ask you Abbas, what is your concept of happiness?
Maybe having the freedom to do what I want to do.
Exactly. So that is one perspective also towards it. Or
Hmm.
have you ever had a materialistic happiness?
I did. I bought my bike. It was like I did not sleep for like few days before and after buying it. Materialistic happiness. Yes.
Exactly. So these happiness some things, because right now when we are sitting as a podcast, there will be a lot of startup people. There will be a lot of whole podcast who want to host it. They might be
Hmm.
thinking they are able to do it. They have the confidence to do it. I don't have that. How will I start it up? There might be a lot of questions there be coming up. So it also their happiness at some point of a time. So for that, people have to understand your happiness is something that you have to accept it right now. If I think, if I'm driving a car and I'm seeing another guy is in his Audi and I'm not happy about it, that is your problem. You have to accept
Great.
what you have right now, and you should have happy about it. If I'm in Instagram, I'm seeing two couples enjoying their time across Europe, going to UK and everything, and I'm blaming uh, my husband or my wife, ki where I am sitting into it, and if how happy I could have been if I would be in their shoes.
Yeah.
That doesn't that's not how it works out, right? So you
Mhm.
have to accept your happiness. So if you are accepting, if you are seeing the opposite person is traveling everywhere, you also have to accept his relationship, his mindset, his work, his financials, everything. So if you are able to accept that, if people won't accept that, because he might not have a good relationship, whether if he might be traveling, he might have not have been a good financial background, if because social media doesn't show that. Social media only shows the good side.
Yeah.
If you're not accepting everything of an opposite person, you are viewing it on a wrong perspective. So accept happiness on what you have right now and thrive towards what you want to do.
Great, great point, man. And I think with that we will conclude our conversation here. Hoping to see you again,
Sure,
maybe
sure.
next year once you achieve your milestone.
Thank you, Abbas. Thank you, me having here. Looking forward to meet you personally, and best of luck for your all the journey that you're going to face.
Sure. Thank you so much.